Today, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about investing. I'm going to do it in 10 minutes or less. I'm also going to give you a few free resources to help you on your investing journey. And I'm going to give you one piece of advice that can absolutely change your investing life. So let's go ahead and break it down. Let me start the clock as well while we're on it. First, why? Why in the world do I talk about investing? Why do I think it is so important? Why do I sit here in front of a camera 250 times per year to talk about investing? Well, here's the thing. The point of investing is that you put your money in and grow it to a point where you can make your job optional. Most people, especially watching this channel, gotta go to work because you have to, because you got bills to pay. Or if you are investing your money, there will come a point where you don't have to do that anymore. You can just live off of your investments and pass those investments down to the next generation to make their lives a whole lot easier. At the end of the day, money buys options, and the more options I have, really comes from the more that I invest. But how does this whole process work? Well, glad you asked. So it starts off with this. It starts off with you. I don't think that's a surprise. It's going to start off with you putting some amount of money in. Now, the good thing about the stock market is it doesn't require tens of thousands of dollars to start. Now, it will help. It will absolutely help, but it does not require. You have seen me on this channel do live investments with $10, $15, right? But I would recommend anywhere between 12 to 15% of your annual income. Start there. That is the best thing to do. If you can do more, go ahead and do more. If you can't do more, start somewhere. 2% is better than 0%. Okay? So start somewhere is going to add up. And the next part is this. You're going to need an account. And I'm not going to write all of these out, just the most popular ones. You have what's called a Roth IRA, traditional IRA, 401k, and again, this is not every single investing account in the world. I would argue you need all of them, but again, I've done videos on the pros and cons between each of them. All right, so you got some money, you open an account, then what do? Well, your next step is you have some choices between your investments. You've got stocks, bonds, ETFs, and mutual funds. Stocks represent a piece of ownership in a company. For example, I own a share of Apple. That means that when Apple does well, I do well. When Apple doesn't do well, I don't do well either. The great thing about stocks is they tend to have extreme growth, or they can have extreme growth. In the case of Netflix or Tesla, that stock can absolutely explode and make you a whole lot of money. Also, you can run into a stock that doesn't do so well. So there is an opposite side to the argument. Bonds are loans that you can make to a company, a city, a state, even the U.S. government. We call these U.S. government bonds. Basically, you're saying, look, I will loan you $1,000 over 5 years. At the end of 5 years, I want my money back. But during that time, during that 5 years, you're going to pay me an interest rate. So 5% a year, 3% a year, or what have you. Then you have your ETFs and your mutual funds. Those are very, very similar. I've done a video between the differences between them. But the key is this. It's like an all-star team. It is the best stocks. It is the best bonds. And I don't have to sit down and choose each one of these one at a time. I can get one of those, and that's going to help me to invest very easily. I would argue that beginners should usually start right there. Okay, you want to start with your ETFs and your mutual funds. But then you move on to what I think is the most fun part, and that is this. Wealth. That is when things are obviously quite fun. Now you might be thinking, that was extremely simple, and honestly it is. Now there are two other pieces that we're going to add to this, but think about it. You put in 10% of your salary per year inside of one or more of those accounts. You choose great stocks, you choose great mutual funds, and then you grow your money. That's really the entire investing process right there. But there are two additional pieces where I think people stumble, or I think it leads people into bad decisions. Now, what are those two pieces? Well, one, if we scroll back between the accounts and the investing section, here's where people tend to make a mistake. Research. Now, I don't look like the word research, but it is research. And here's the thing. Your research process is going to tell you this stock is good, this stock is not. This video I saw on TikTok is worth following, or it's a scam. okay? Because I see a lot of people that will invest in things that don't really make a whole lot of sense. If I told you right now that there's a company that's losing 99% or has lost 99% of its value over the last year, that's not a good, you would argue that's probably not a good thing to invest in, right? But people still invest in GameStop, people still invest in Peloton, people still invest in AMC. Even though that is the case, right? You want to make sure you're getting good quality information to help you decide, because yeah, if you invest in Apple or Netflix, which is the great, possibility, that works quite well for you. But when it doesn't, it's going to make it a lot harder for you to build wealth. Now, how should you research? What are the things you should look for? We cover all of that on the channel, so you want to make sure you check that out. Also, make sure that it is on the screen at the end of the video too, if you're looking for a good research process. The next thing is this. It's going to take some time. And this is where things get real serious, and it might be a coming to Jesus moment for some of y'all, okay? It could take you, in some cases, 10 years. For many, it's going to take 20 to 30 years. Investing is not an overnight process. I wish it were. I would get a lot more views if I could show you an overnight process to wealth, but it's really not. And here's the thing, and I think this is where you should really hone in on. 20 years ago, I wish I'd invested in Netflix and Google and Amazon and Microsoft. I wish that 30 years ago, when I was born, I could have done all that stuff. If you don't like the fact that it's going to take you 20 years, or it could take you 20 years or 30 years, there are a few things you can do. Number one, you can put more money in on the front end. You got $20,000 or $30,000 to start off with. You can become wealthy a lot faster than someone like me who had to start off with $100 a month. Okay, that works. But the other thing is, 20 years from now, you're going to wish you started 20 years ago. And whether you like it or not, the time is going to pass. The time is going to pass. I didn't know 20 years ago when I was, 13, that I'd be here, right? But whether I invested or not, here I am. That is the thing here. And whether you've started investing already or you've never invested before, you want to start now, because in 20 years, you don't want to look back and say, I wish I had invested in X, Y, and Z. I wish I researched better, so on and so forth. Even if you're going to make an investing mistake, I'd rather you make it very fast and very inexpensively than make it when you only have 2 years before retirement, right? We only have 5 years left before retirement, where things get very dicey and very risky at that point in time. Start now. But the truth is, you can start this process now. You should absolutely start this process now. But the space, right? I don't have enough space to draw on this tablet, but the space between the investments you're choosing and that wealth factor can vary depending on how much money you're investing and what you are investing in. But that is the entire investing process. Any investment out there is going to walk through this exact same process. You're going to invest in business, you need to research what investment you're going to invest in, what products are you going to make. You want to do real estate? Exact same thing. Research what place your property is in, how much are property selling in that area. It's the exact same process. And it's still going to take you time between what you invest in, properties, home, businesses, whatever it is, between the time that you hit that wealth number, whatever that number is going to be for you. Now, the next thing is, well, where can I open some of these accounts, and what type of investments should I be looking for, and what works right now? If that is your next question, guess what? I've got research for you, and that is right here.